Hey everybody, Brett from Senior Golf Source. Today I'm going to help you out with learning how to hit the low shot. This shot can come into play in many different type of perspectives on the course. Primarily, let's say that you hit your drive into the woods and you need to keep the ball low to advance it forward, and you really don't have any other options but to just keep the ball low. Very simple concept that a lot of people do not think of, a lot of people do not try to apply to hitting this shot. So the first thing that we would do is make sure that we grab a good iron that will help produce that type of loft. I'm going to start with my 6-iron because I feel like that's a good, it has a low enough loft to where we could flight the ball low if desired. Now what I'm going to do is basically talk to you about the setup in this shot. The setup in this shot is, obviously we need to keep the ball low, so what we're going to do, if we looked at my 6-iron here, it's static loft, will naturally launch the ball relatively high. Well, what I need to do is to get that to turn down. So the simple thing that I'm going to do is place the ball a little bit more back in my stance and allow my hands to forward press. So that's going to be the setup position. Are we taking our normal standard posture? Not really. It's going to be a little bit more of an upright posture because we're definitely not going to take a very long swing. What happens in the swing, if we take this full length swing, there's a good chance that we're going to create a lot of backspin. And an increase in backspin typically associates with an increase in launch. So what I'm going to do is I'll set the ball up like I had described. I'm going to play it in the back of my stance and press my hands forward. And if you notice, I'm a little bit more upright. If I were to go into my standard setup, I'm further from the ball. There's a little bit more tilt from my hips to help me navigate a longer arcing swing. Well, I don't need that here. So I'm going to get a little bit closer, a little bit more upright, and I'm going to get that forward press. Now, let's just kind of go through a series of shots and look how the arc, so the length of the swing, how it affects the trajectory of the ball. So I'll start off with a relatively long swing in this position. All right? On that, I got a pretty decent launch. The ball definitely would have rattled around in the trees. It wouldn't have stayed low enough to make it through that style of shot that I was trying to hit. So now let's look at taking something around half the distance of that swing. So again, same setup, ball in the back of the stance, a little bit more upright and hands pressed forward. And I definitely took a smaller range, and that notably dropped my launch angle. I went from over a 30-degree trajectory to somewhere in about 15 degrees of trajectory, and it definitely dropped my spin rate. So I know when spin rate's dropping down, I know that my ball flight typically is going to go with it. The trajectory is going to lessen. So good news is I've got that small swing. I'm still getting about 122 yards out of this style of shot. And right now when I'm trying to get out of the woods, I'm not necessarily worried about getting the ball up by the pin. I'm worried about advancing the ball as forward as I can, direct to target, if allowed, and having that control. So now what I'm going to do is I'll set up, and I'm really going to take a short swing because this would be representative of the shot where maybe I need to hit it, say 60 yards to 100 yards, and just keeping it low the whole way. So a lot more upright, hands pressed forward, low backswing, low follow through, and I got that ball to advance quite a bit there. That ball came off nice and hot. Now one thing I will say is the ball, typically with this style of shot, is probably more prone to go left. So that's where we're going to talk about the setup in our stance. I like to pick out an intermediate target. So let's say that I've got the trees kind of in line with where the bunker is on the screen here that I'm pointing at. Let's say that that is my target line. Well, what I'm going to do is pick something out almost immediately in front of the ball. So I'm going to look at that part of the ground and get my club face dead on, just absolutely perfect to that spot. And you'll see that I'm aimed slightly to the right here. I've got my upright posture. Got that short backswing, short low hands follow through, and I'm back in play. So it is an easier shot to hit with that reduced range of motion and swing, but make sure that you've got the fundamentals down. Make sure that you're set up with your body's posture, the setup with the positioning of your hands, and then make sure you're doing this with the club that's going to accommodate this style of shot. It's not uncommon for me to grab my low lofted hybrid and try to hit this style of shot. I've been known to use the 5 and 4 iron as well. In extreme cases, I've done this with my 3-wood. So just, when you're in that position, this is something that could save that couple extra shots on your round of golf. You might have an awesome round of golf going, and then you hit that tee shot into the woods, and then you're scratching your head and you're not knowing what to do. Next thing you know, you've hit 3 shots out of the woods because it's just rattling around on the trees. Work on this shot. Actually go into the woods if you've got the place and the space to do it. Get out there with the shag bag of balls and work on this shot, because you will find huge benefits in this. Once you get this down, you can start to applying this, saying if you're in a really windy day, some of these concepts will help you neutralize your ball flight. That way you don't have to overswing when the wind's up in your face. So I hope you found this helpful, and please like and subscribe for more.